Morning, friends. Lots and lots to talk about over the past few days. I've been a little missing in action. I've been actually kind of sick, so good times. But I just want to kind of briefly touch before we talk about China's deep fake and pretty much AI, anything that uses AI synthesis and their protections on data. I'd like to just kind of briefly take a quick little stopperenio over here at ArtStation. And the last video we did was round one of the protests here, and that was beautiful, brilliant, and inspiring. And as I said, I've never been so proud of the art community. And even though we are in some pretty psychotic, dark times here, to put it very nicely, I do think there will be some silver linings that do come out of all of this. It's hard to say exactly what they would be, but the level of unity and just the way that all artists have kind of coalesced and rallied together behind this is absolutely fantastic. And when it's all said and done, and the smoke clears from the smoldering wreckage of this entire shit taco, there might be some really nice things. We might have some sort of unions. We may see sentiment changing where people actually really start to value human-made art, and a little bit of respect might be thrown in artist direction. Who knows what it's going to be? It's hard to say right now, but I want to keep a grain of optimism and just drop a little bit in my coffee every morning. So as you can see on ArtStation here, we're actually up to round 4 of these protests, and this is pretty much precipitated by ArtStation's absolutely laughable terms of service update that I'm not really going to get into because I had actually recorded another video on that and I just shredded it. But I think everybody kind of already understands how ridiculous what they said. They basically said, we support your art, but we really don't want to stifle AI research. And then they put this just asinine tag in there where you can opt in or opt out. It was automatically set to like neutral. And let's be clear, it should obviously be set to opt out. But having said that, these gestures like this one from ArtStation and the one that we saw from DeviantArt, they are token gestures. They have absolutely no teeth. They're completely freaking meaningless. No no AI training data scraper is going to give a shit about those tags. We already know they all feel completely entitled to the art. What they think they're doing is completely justified, and we're not dealing with people who are concerned about ethics or what's right or what's wrong or intellectual property. So these tags are completely meaningless. It's lip service, and I don't even want to spend a lot of time on it because I think we're all kind of on the same page. ArtStation is trying to play some bullshit game. They're trying to kind of pull the wool over everyone's eyes, give a little lip service, and apparently artists are not buying it. So we're already up to round 4. And I have seen quite a few people, cancel their pro accounts at very least. I have seen people removing all of their products and galleries from ArtStation, and I think that's very good. And I think we're kind of getting to a time now, and I have a couple of other examples of small, I don't want to call them indie studios. These are people who are looking to train their own AI tools and have just been downloading code off of like GitHub for internet scraping, and they're maliciously ignoring these tags. And when they're confronted on Twitter or wherever it is that they post these things, their attitude about it is 100% like, save it for someone who gives a shit. So that's what we're dealing with here. So my point being that I think we're very rapidly getting to, or might even be past the point where everyone might want to consider just taking all of their art down. I mean, no place is really safe. And while in all of my journeys through the Lion 5B dataset, which at this point is getting old now, new datasets are being compiled. One thing I never saw was Twitter and Instagram. And I've talked about this with some other people. And, a couple of people pointed out that someone could very easily just write a code, to scrape Instagram. The reason I think Instagram isn't necessarily the best place to scrape is that the tags associated with it aren't as literal. Like if you paint a picture of a robot petting a dog, right? The hashtags you use aren't going to be descriptors. They're going to be whatever's trending so that hopefully you can get 1% of your followers to see it, because that's a whole other can of bullshit. The way, Instagram's algorithm spend years building up a community and it decides to show it to about 3% of your followers unless you want to pay. Give us your money. Anyway, point being that the tags that people use on Instagram aren't necessarily proper descriptors. So like if you pull up robot petting a dog and all the hashtags say like, I don't know, trending on ArtStation concept art, or like whatever the tag du jour is to get your work seen, it doesn't work great for the AI training because it likes to have like good associate tags. It wants to say dog, robot, colors, things like that. And I think that's why Pinterest works a lot better. But having said that, they absolutely could write a code or a script for that. So my point being, we may well be past the time where it might be time to consider just taking all of your art down. Now, does that suck? Yeah, it absolutely sucks. Is it fun to share what you do? It is. It's amazing. It's one of the good things about social media. With all of its evils, it's nice to share your art and have people see it and get feedback and just kind of be involved in an art community without having to leave your desk. It is what it is. It's like anything else. It's really a double-edged sword. But until we get a safe place that is somehow found a way to protect the material up there from data scraping, we might be well past that time. And it's something to really think about. And it's something that I've heard people talking about. And I've seen a bunch of these other kind of sites popping up. There's Mastodon, and I've heard like a couple of other little ones. I don't know that much about them, so if anyone has some insight into that, I'd love to hear it in the comments. But let's get to China. So look, it's really a little confusing and weird to think that of all places, the leader in human rights abuses, China, is leading the charge on like data security and anti-deepfake policy. Now, when I first heard about this, my mind immediately goes to this place of, well, they just don't want anybody making Xi Jinping Winnie the Pooh generation, right? Like I'm assuming always, like my mind is a dark place. I'm always assuming that there's some sort of angle. Now, while they're curbing all of this deepfake and this data, and there's a few different parts to it, it's all a little snoozy. One important caveat is that in no place did they also, in their policy that they're laying forth, have they prohibited the government from doing the things that they're saying that people and companies can't do. And it's also a little conflicting because you have companies like Tencent, and as we know, every company in China, the way that they work it is the government kind of has access and becomes part of your company. It's a really weird thing that they do. So a company like Tencent, which is a major video game company, is making and implementing facial recognition software they actually have running in the background of kids playing games, which they say is in order to limit their game time, right? So try to curb video game or screen time addiction in China. That's a little Orwellian. So for me, it's like pretty much a mixed bag. While I really do like that some of these policies are being put in place, we are talking about China here, and they don't have the best record of taking a very humanitarian bent on most of the policies that they put forward. So I will be researching this further, but having said that, China being such a large player in this tech space, whatever their angle is, right, whatever kind of backdoor action they're going to do, whatever the government is going to do, the fact that they're taking such a hardline stance against deepfake technology, anything that uses a synthesizing technology, they want you to get permissions. If I want to make a fake Joe Rogan talking about whatever, cheese steaks, I would need to get Joe Rogan's permission to do this. And this is a law that is actually going to go into place on January 10th of this coming year. So that's just a few weeks. And I love that. I think that's really important. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw, it's like last year when the Ukraine war was really kind of kicking up, and it's still going on. Let's not forget about that right now. There are people just being displaced, and this is happening all over the world, but in Ukraine, people are being displaced. It's fucking tragedy. This deep fake video was made, and it basically told the Ukrainians to lay down their arms. I mean, this is truly exemplifies one of the huge dangers of deep fake technology. And I mean, some people might think, oh, it's like a neat little fun thing. I can make a little video of me pretending to be Morgan Freeman talking about butts. Like, yeah, like that's fun. I get it. But the danger is just so obvious and real. I mean, like, what could possibly go wrong, right? Just a little bit of government and societal upheaval. No big deal at all. Keep it moving, everybody. Nothing to see here. So we saw this, and that was an early example of how this technology can be used to manipulate massive segments of the population. And that's something that we have elections coming up here in America. I guarantee you we're going to see bad actors using these very easy to create, very easy to use technologies. There's programs that literally give you plug and play. Like, I could record my voice saying a script and then just click a button and pick from my, however many different celebrities they have on there. They've got Joe Rogan, Morgan Freeman, some other people, but somebody could very easily train, Joe Biden or, Donald Trump or whatever it is, and have them say whatever they want. I don't need to get into this. It's so obvious how dangerous this can be. So China doing this is a double-edged sword, but I'm just going to take the good with the bad here, because while there's nothing stopping China's government from misusing these tools, as I kind of started to say, the fact that they're doing this could lead to other countries adopting similar policies and giving them a framework to kind of build upon. So things are changing very rapidly. Like 5 months ago, the conversation was completely different. Now we're at a place where people have a much better understanding of how these technologies work, how the data is collected and then used to train these models, not just for about AI generated or algorithmically generated art. This spreads into every sector, and it's becoming more in the mainstream, and politicians are starting to take notice. There is also this, let me see if I can find it right here. In case I'm probably going to mention this a little bit in every single video I do going forward until the goal is met. If you have not yet donated to the Concept Art Association Kickstarter, you absolutely should. Anything helps. $20, $5. Somebody donated $5,000 anonymously. I think everybody really appreciates that. But if you haven't gone to at least check this out, please go check it out. I will put the link down below. They really break it all down very nicely. They talk about their plan of action, what they're going to do. They have a full budget broken down. I mean, this is a good short read. They break it down very clearly. And I think a lot of people are pinning their hopes with the Concept Art Association, and they are the ones leading the fight. And I couldn't be more grateful that this exists. Just great stuff. I'm not going to read the whole thing and get into it right now, but as I said, link is down below. If you can't afford to donate, please consider sharing this with your people. Maybe maybe tell regular people about this. It's all about getting the word out there, keeping our voices heard, and advocating for our rights is pretty much tantamount. Tantamount. What a fun word that is. But that's kind of what it is. So the whole China thing, very interesting, very conflicting, but at the same time important, right? It's always hard to really gauge China's intentions here. I mean, look how they crack down on protest, dissent, freedom of speech. It feels so odd to say China's doing this great thing, and you gotta figure it's whatever their angle is, it's probably not like the most high-minded, humanity-focused angle. But as I said, I think we got to take the good with the bad, and China being an economic leader, it really could have some serious ripple effects. Currently in America, you can kind of do whatever the hell you want, but things are changing, and things will hopefully change very quickly. If you want to learn more about this, literally just take 2 minutes and Google China deepfake law. I mean, they're trying to protect a lot of data. They're putting out policies that are going to control how data is collected. But as I said, none of it applies to the government. So, I mean, yeah. Anyway, I mean, that's it for the very brief news today. There's so much more to talk about. I could never get through it all. As I said, I've just been feeling like absolute ass. But I thought it was important to hop on and just highlight a couple of things. Please go support the Concept Art Association's Kickstarter. It's absolutely fantastic. $127,000, and I think it's been 4 days. Yeah, I mean, huge shout out Carla and the gang over there, Steven Zapata, getting the word out, really spreading the word. I mean, I couldn't be happier. I think a lot of people are, I don't want to say breathing a sigh of relief, but just knowing that something is happening. People are doing things. We've moved past the just bitching about it stage and panicking stage, and now we're moving into like, let's actually do something about it. So generally good news today. There are dark nuggets I could kind of point out, and generally those dark nuggets are always about specific bad actors. And as much as I'd love to do a story on scumbag A or scumbag B, once legislation and once laws do catch up, it will be much easier for scumbag A and scumbag B to be put in their place with just simple, actionable legal processes, right? There will be people whose job it is to go after bad actors. So I think focusing on scumbags A through Z, and they are out there and they love to share what their scummery is doing online, don't really care what people say. I don't want to focus on them. It's fun to just try to shred those people, but I think we got to keep an eye on the big picture here. Doesn't mean I won't focus on some scummery. Those people piss me off, and I do want to just lay into them and roast them whenever possible. I think that's good times. But let's keep focusing on the good. Let's keep an eye on the big picture. Please go check out the Concept Art fundraiser. And yeah, that's it for now, guys. Talk to you soon. Good luck in the wars to come.